Ah, nothing beats it. The open road, two wheels, and the promise of adventure. Welcome to Two Wheel Touring. I'm Supermoto Steve, and this is my crazy cousin Misdemeanor Mike. We're out here chasing the wild, ghost towns, stunning views, and secret trails that only a bike can find. So hop on, twist the throttle, and take a ride with us on our next epic journey. From ghost towns lost in time to mountain passes that tested our skills and pushed our limits, 2024 took us to places that most riders never see. We followed crumbling trails, chased sunsets to abandoned mines, and found beauty in the forgotten. Every mile had a story, and these are 10 that stuck with us. This is Two Wheel Touring's Top 10 Rides of 2024. Saddle up and let's ride. Kicking off the countdown at number 10, Humbug Ghost Town, also known as North Bloomfield, California. A forgotten speck in the Sierra Nevada tied to the biggest environmental disaster in American history. Me and Misdemeanor Mike took a stab at this one together, rattling down the dirt road in. It's a rough haul, 15 miles of gravel and dust off Highway 49 from Nevada City. The dirt road twists through pine thickets and ruts that'll shake your bones. The remoteness hits you hard. Cell signal's a myth, and it feels like you're the last souls on Earth, swallowed by the foothills. When we finally rolled into Humbug, it's like stepping back 150 years. Most of the buildings are still standing and in unreal shape, restored beauties from the gold rush days. The McKillican and Mobley General Store, the bar, the post office, all lined up along North Bloomfield Road, white picket fences and all. It's freaky how alive they feel, like people were there yesterday. The general store's shelves are still stocked, cans and jars lined up neat, ready for sale. The post office has mail scattered on the counter and a postman's cap still sitting where its owner set it down over 100 years prior. The bar's got bottles behind the counter ready for a pour. Malakoff Diggins State Historic Park keeps them in arrested decay, a time capsule of a boomtown that once buzzed with life. We could almost hear the clatter of the miners' boots and the saloon chatter as we parked the bikes. Humbug's story starts at 1851. 3 prospectors struck gold near Humbug Creek, so named after a bust when followers found zilch. By 1852, hydraulic mining kicked in and the town blew up. Renamed North Bloomfield in 1857 to accommodate for the post office, it hit 2,000 souls at its peak. Miners, families, Chinese workers, and French settlers running 8 saloons, hotels, and a daily stage. The North Bloomfield Gravel Mining Company turned it into a gold-churning machine, blasting hillsides with high-pressure water cannons called water monitors. The hydraulic mining washed away entire mountains, funneling sludge through a nearly 8,000-foot tunnel into the Yuba River. Pay dirt brought riches, millions in gold, but the tailings, they buried farms downstream. They flooded Marysville under 25 feet of muck and silted up the San Francisco Bay, decreasing the depth by nearly a foot. By 1884, the Sawyer decision in Congress shut it down, the first major environmental law in the U.S. sparked by ruined valleys and furious farmers. Mining died, and so did Humbug, emptying out by 1900. We stopped at the Diggins site, a 600-foot deep, 7,000-foot long scar that screams at the cost of greed. The inhabitants? Miners chasing dreams, families building lives, then gone with the wind when the gold ran dry. Now it's just me and Mike, the wind, and those sturdy relics that look ready to open for business. Number 10, the Humbug Ghost Town, a remote, rugged ride to America's biggest environmental wreck. Stick around, number 9's up next. Coming in at number 9, the ghost town of Bodie, California. Ever since I was a kid, I've dreamed of seeing this place. Long before the internet was a thing, I'd hit up the library, poring over books and maps, piecing together a trip to this eerie, abandoned mining town stuck in time. I'd sketch out routes, imagine the desk kicking up behind me. Back then it was all just pencil and paper, pure old school dreaming. Fast forward to today and I'm finally rolling in on my motorcycle. For this adventure, Misdemeanor Mike didn't tag along. It was just me riding solo and chasing that childhood obsession. The ride to Bodie is something else. Twisting roads cutting through the high desert, sagebrush whipping by, and that wide open sky pulling you forward. You climb higher and higher, the air getting thinner, the engine growling as you lean into every curve. It's just you, the bike, and the promise of history ahead. Now, drones, they're a no-go inside Bodie itself. It's park rules. But I couldn't resist. Just outside the boundaries, I launched mine and snagged some killer footage of the sprawling landscape leading up to the town. The aerial shots were worth it. What a place. Bodie's story is wild. Back in the late 1800s, it was a booming gold rush town. Thousands of people, saloons, shootouts, the works. At its peak, it was chaos. Over 10,000 folks chasing fortune. But when the gold dried up, so did the town. By the 1940s, it was empty, left to rot in a state of arrested decay. Now it's a state historic park, frozen in time. Rusted cans still on shelves, furniture gathering dust. Like everyone just up and vanished. Park rangers at Bodie are the unsung heroes. They're out here keeping the place intact, chatting with visitors and sharing stories about the town's heyday. If you're thinking of pocketing a souvenir, don't. There's a curse. Yep, the Bodie curse. Folks who've taken anything, a nail, a shard of glass, they all say the same thing. Bad luck follows them home. The rangers get letters all the time from people mailing stuff back, begging it to lift the jinx. Leave it be, this place has enough ghosts without you tempting fate. That's number 9, Bodie, a ride that for me was decades in the making and it didn't disappoint. Stick around, number 8's up next. Rolling in at number 8, the Oatman Sidewinder, Arizona's Wild Western Twist Fest. This time it's me, Supermoto Steve, and Misdemeanor Mike tearing it up together. We kick things off with a stop at Cool Springs, a funky stone outpost from Route 66's heyday. This place has a story. Back in '91, they blew it up for a movie, Universal Soldier, just for kicks. What you see now was rebuilt from the ashes and pieced back together to keep that vintage soul alive. We grabbed some cold Route 66 root beer, fizzy, sweet, and perfect for the desert, and slapped some stickers on the bikes to mark the ride. Just up the hill from the store, there's this little spring where folks used to fill their radiators back when cars couldn't handle the heat. It's a tiny little reservoir, water all murky and you can't see a thing through it. But Misdemeanor Mike, being Mike, sniffed out a stash of goldfish food stacked under a rock. He sprinkled some in and lo and behold, a ton of goldfish popped up, swarming like crazy in that cloudy soup. Who knew? After a short break with the goldfish and downing my Route 66 root beer, it was go time. The Sidewinder's no joke. 8 miles of pure adrenaline, packing 191 curves that snake through the ragged peaks. Think of it as a western cousin of the Tail of the Dragon, but with dust, cacti, and a whole lot of attitude. The road's narrow, the turns are tight, and there's no guardrails to babysit you. It's just you, the bike, and the edge. You climb to Sitgreaves Pass, 3,500 feet up. The engine's humming as you lean into every switchback. It's a beast of a ride and demands focus, but the payoff? Sweeping desert vistas that'll stop you cold, if you dare look. And then you drop into Oatman itself, a gritty little gold rush town that time forgot. Back in the late 1800s, it boomed with over 10,000 dreamers chasing veins of gold. Over 2 million troy ounces of gold was pulled from these hills. Adjusted for inflation, that's a whopping value of $4.6 billion. Saloons, shootouts, and chaos ruled until the mines tapped out in the 40s. Now it's a living ghost town, stuck in arrested decay. We rolled in and grabbed a meal at the historic Oatman Hotel, a creaky old joint where Clark Gable and Carol Lombard honeymooned back in '39. Burros, the descendants of miners' pack animals, roamed the streets freely, nosing visitors for treats. The food at the hotel is hearty, the walls are plastered with dollar bills, and you can feel the history in every rickety floorboard. The vibe, pure outlaw grit. It's said the spirits of the long-dead inhabitants still haunt these halls. That's number 8, the Oatman Sidewinder, a western dragon of a road capped with a town that's rough, raw, and unforgettable. Hang tight, number 7's coming up. Coming in at number 7, the Badger Canyon Cliffs, a hidden gem in Arizona's wild north. This trek started with me and Misdemeanor Mike crashing overnight at Lee's Ferry Lodge, a cozy no-frills spot tucked right at the bottom of the Vermilion Cliffs. Those cliffs, they're unreal, towering slabs of red and orange rock stacked like a painter's fever dream, glowing against the sky. The lodge sits in their shadow, surrounded by this stark, otherworldly beauty. As we were packing the bikes in the morning, soaking in that jaw-dropping scene, a ratchety old stranger shuffled over, voice like gravel, and asked if we'd been to Badger Canyon. He pointed us back the way we came the night before, just a short ride to an unmarked turnoff on the side of the road. No signs, no fanfare, just a dusty whisper and a stranger's tip. We took the bait, and man, what a ride. It's a treacherous haul, sand and dirt kicking up, the bikes fishtailing through ruts and loose sand. The trail's unforgiving, a real test of grip and grit, but then you hit the cliff's edge and it's like the world cracks open. And there it is, our own private Grand Canyon. No tourists, no crowds, just us, the bikes, and the raging Colorado River carving its way deep below. We parked there for an hour soaking it in. The river roared, low and steady. A hawk screeched, slicing the air every now and then. Otherwise, pure raw silence. This hidden corner of the Grand Canyon, majestic doesn't even cover it. Towering red walls plunge hundreds of feet. Shadows dance across the rock as the sun shifts. The absence of tourists made it sacred, like we'd stumbled into a secret the earth kept just for us. No gift shops, no selfie sticks, just the sight of the bikes cooling off, the sound of the river below, and that endless canyon sprawl. Getting in and out of this little travel paradise was brutal. The loose sand grabbed at the tires and every bump dared you to lose control. But worth it? Oh, hell yeah. That hour at the cliffs erased every second of the struggle. It's remote, it's raw, and it's the rider's reward for taking the tip of a stranger and following that unmarked road. And that's number 7, the Badger Canyon Cliffs, a dusty detour to a private slice of paradise. Stick around, number 6 is next. Sliding in at number 6, Valley of Fire, Nevada's red-hot stunner. Me and Misdemeanor Mike rolled into Vegas late the night before, fresh off an epic chase through Death Valley tailing a pack of Harleys with the throttle pinned. We crashed at a crusty Motel 6, real glamorous stuff. Sleep, barely got any. The night left us groggy, but we shook it off. Valley of Fire was calling, and that's worth dragging yourself out of bed for. We hit the Valley of Fire west entrance and carved our way east into the park. The place is unreal. Fiery red sandstone cliffs, blazing into the sun, twisted into shapes that look like they belong on Mars. We pulled over, found some shade, and stretched our legs along the base of the cliffs. Misdemeanor Mike, never one to sit still, scrambled up for a bit better view, my crazy cousin. And that view, jaw-dropping. Waves of rock ripple out in every direction, glowing like they're lit from within. It's ancient, wild, and alive. This spot's a knockout. They call it Nevada's oldest state park. Carved out in 1935, but the history goes way deeper. Millions of years ago, this was all shifting dunes. Now it's fossilized into these insane formations. Native tribes left their mark here too. Petroglyphs scratched into the rocks, some 2,000 years old, telling stories we can only guess at. We visited in early spring, thinking we'd beat the rush. But nah, tons of people still showed up. Cars, hikers, and cameras everywhere. Didn't matter though. The place is so vast it swallows the crowds and still feels untamed. The ride in and out was smooth, pavement winding through the crimson chaos. But that stop in the shade with Mike perched up high in the desert stretching forever, that's what stuck. Even half dead from a sleepless night, Valley of Fire woke us up. Its raw beauty and prehistoric pulse, tourist or not, it's a rider's dream. Number 6, the Valley of Fire, a fire escape worth every gritty mile. Hang on to that throttle. Number 5's up next. Clocking in at number 5, Cerro Gordo Ghost Town, a silver-soaked relic perched high in California's Inyo Mountains. Me and Misdemeanor Mike had been itching to hit this spot ever since the Rona lockdowns. We were glued to Brent Underwood's YouTube channel, Ghost Town Living, for updates as he brought this place back from the dead. It's the spark that lit up our whole idea for a motorcycle ghost town tour. After a long haul down Highway 395, we rolled up to the base of the Cerro Gordo Road, only to see a town closed sign staring us down. Disappointing? Hell yeah, we were gutted. But we'd come too far to turn back. Word is that road's public, so we made the call and gunned up the mountain to see it with our own eyes. Holy hell, that ride, 8 miles of steep winding dirt cutting through solid rock like a knife. It's a heart pounder. Narrow, rough, with drop-offs that'll make your stomach lurch. One bobble on the bike and you're toast. But the view's insane. Owens Lake sprawls below, a shimmering ghost of its old self, framed by the Sierra Nevada and Death Valley in the distance. You're climbing to 8,500 feet and every twist feels like a gamble worth taking. We made it to the top, and there it was, Cerro Gordo, raw and real. A dude strolling by stopped us and asked, "Didn't you see the town closed sign?" We owned it, heads hung low, full of shame and embarrassment. But he was cool, gracious even. He opened the gift shop and we scored big. A signed copy of Brent's book, some killer t-shirts, and fresh sticker badges for the bikes. We dropped a fat donation too. No way we're leaving without showing love for not getting the boot. Fast forward to 2018. Brent Underwood and his buddy John Beer snagged the whole town for $1.4 million, beating out wild ideas like a weed-themed amusement park. Brent's vision: turn this dusty relic into a gritty retreat and preserve its soul. He's been up there ever since, rebuilding after a 2020 fire torched the American Hotel, digging into mines, and chronicling it all online. The guy's a legend. Go check his channel Ghost Town Living and give him a subscribe. Pulling in at number 4, Tioga Pass, California's high country stunner. This was another solo mission. Misdemeanor Mike decided to sit this one out, leaving me and the trusty V-Strom to tackle it alone. I hit this one in late fall. The ride up Tioga kicks off in Yosemite, rolling out from the valley floor. Weather was gorgeous, blue skies and crisp air. I gassed up, downed a cold Coke, and gobbled up a package of peanut M&Ms from a little station at the base of Tioga Road. Tank full, a sugar rush, and spirits high, I pointed the bike east and started climbing. It's a beauty from the jump. You wind through the beautiful meadows first, wide open sub-alpine sprawl almost at 7,000 feet, dotted with granite domes and wildflowers if you time it right. The road's smooth and the views are endless. As the elevation ticked up and I moved towards the summit, I spotted trouble on the horizon. Gnarly dark clouds were stacking up ahead, and sure enough, by the time I hit Tioga Lake, the rain was pelting me. That's biking in the mountains for you. No roof, no mercy. You're exposed, and when the weather turns, you just grit your teeth and push through. The lake's a stunner, though. Crystal water reflecting jagged peaks, even through the drizzle. The pass itself tops out at 9,943 feet, the highest paved pass in the Sierra Nevada. The road, Highway 120, got its start in 1883 as a rickety wagon trail, built by the Great Sierra Mining Company to haul gear to the Tioga mine. 130 men worked tirelessly for 3 months to blast through granite with picks and dynamite, a wild effort for a silver bust that fizzled just a few years later in 1888. Loggers and sheep herders managed to keep it alive until 1910, when Yosemite nabbed it for the park. Paving came in the 30s, and now it's a lifeline when it's open. Thing is, Tioga's closed for half the year. Snow buries it from late fall to late spring, sometimes even June. Even in summer, storms like the one I encountered could sneak up on you fast. Past the lake, as you crest the pass, raw, windswept, and quiet except for the engine growl. And then it's a twisty drop into Lee Vining. Along the way you can catch Tenaya Lake, glass smooth and framed by cliffs. Then the granite slabs of Olmsted Point come into view, where Half Dome peeks out if you squint. Every mile's a postcard. I ended the day at the Lakeview Motel in Lee Vining. It's clean, comfy, and my go-to spot in these parts. Soaked but satisfied, I crashed hard, Mono Lake glimmering outside my window. That's number 4, Tioga Pass. A solo climb through beauty and chaos. Rain or shine, it's a rider's high. Buckle up, number 3's next. Charging in at number 3, Yosemite, California's crown jewel. Me and Misdemeanor Mike hit this one in early spring. Before we even crossed the park line, we spotted a gem, a long-abandoned motel rotting on the roadside. You know us. Dilapidated, forgotten places are our catnip. We poked around, boots crunching through broken glass and weeds, soaking in the eerie vibes before pointing the bikes towards the park. Heading into the park, we punched through arch rock. In here, it's like the earth flexed its muscles. Massive stone formations loom overhead, natural tunnels carved by time, guiding us in. Countless waterfalls and stone-filled creeks were roaring. Snowmelt crashes down the cliffs, kicking up a mist you could feel on your face. Early spring's the move here. Crowds were thin, and they left the place wide open for us to drink it in. We rode deeper into the park and our jaws dropped. The scenery hit us like a freight train. Those rock walls, El Capitan and Half Dome, they're giants. You've got to see them to get how grand they really are. Photos just don't cut it. We pulled over in the shadow of Yosemite Falls, the tallest in the park, thundering down 2,425 feet. Mike dug into his bag and pulled out some burritos. Clutch move. We parked the bikes, chowed down, and just sat there stunned. The scale, the sound, the raw power of it all. It's humbling. Yosemite's been a legend since 1890, when it became a national park, though the Miwok and Paiute tribes called it home for thousands of years before that. Tectonic chaos and glaciers carved it out over millions of years, leaving behind these insane granite monoliths and valleys. Spring's magic here, waterfalls at peak flow, snow dusting the edges, and hardly a soul to share it with. The ride is pure awe on two wheels. After soaking it up, we cruised on. We looped through the back of the park and headed back towards the entrance. We made a stop at the gift shop for sticker badges to slap on the bikes and a cold Coke to give us an energy boost. Then we rolled out through the big oak flat entrance, the park fading in the mirrors but burned into our heads. And that's number 3, Yosemite, a springtime haul through nature's heavy hitters. Hang tight, number 2's coming up. Roaring in at number 2, Zion National Park, Utah's Red Rock masterpiece. Me and Misdemeanor Mike blasted through here right after our Valley of Fire run. Still buzzing from the desert heat, we rolled in from the west side hitting Highway 9. This ride's a full-on assault of beauty, and words cannot adequately describe what nature created in this corner of Utah. The road twists through the park like a coiled rattler, weaving past cliffs and canyons that burn pink and orange in the sun. Every turn's a gut punch. Massive sandstone walls rise up, sculpted by eons into wild, jagged shapes. It's a technical dance, leading the bikes through the curves while the engine's low growl echoes off the rock. The scenes hit hard from the start. You're cruising alongside the Virgin River. Its cottonwood-lined banks form a green slash against the red walls. As you wind deeper, just before the tunnel, you catch sight of the Great Arch, a massive natural curve of rock scooped out of the cliff face by wind and time. It's not a true arch you can walk under, but it frames the canyon like a giant window, teasing the vastness beyond. Then you roll through the tight stretches near Pine Creek, where the canyon squeezes in. The cliff shoots skyward so close you feel dwarfed. Next up is the Zion Mount Carmel Tunnel, a 1.1-mile beast blasted through solid rock back in the 30s. It's dark, narrow, and rumbles with the bike's roar. Giant windows cut into the side of the tunnel flash quick, breathtaking views of the canyon sprawling below. You feel the weight of the mountain above. The cool air rushes past. It's a wild, gritty thrill that ties the ride together. We pushed all the way to the Mount Carmel Junction, eyes wide the whole time. Near the end, checkerboard mesa looms up. Cross-hatched rock so strange it's like nature's graffiti. The twisty roads keep you hooked, the river keeps carving, and that pre-tunnel Great Arch lingers in your rear view. Highway 9, laid down in the 20s, ties it all together. A biker's handshake with the wild, raw, and unfiltered. And that's number 2, Zion, a twisty arch frame haul through nature's heavyweights. Fresh off the Valley of Fire with Mike by my side. Get ready, number 1's up next. Topping the list at number 1, Sonora Pass. My last and favorite ride of all time is on Highway 108. Sonora Pass is a masterpiece. Smooth, fresh pavement that begs you to twist the throttle, with super fun twisties that carve the Sierra Nevada like a roller coaster for bikers. But it's not just the ride, it's drop dead gorgeous. I had the devil on one shoulder whispering to go fast, and an angel on the other saying slow down, soak it in. The views are grand, rugged peaks, alpine meadows, and vistas that hit you right in the chest. If you've ever ridden Sonora Pass, you already know it's full of unforgettable moments. But every now and then you stumble onto something that instantly becomes legendary. And for me, that place is Donnell Vista. Misdemeanor Mike and I rolled up, expecting just a quick stop, maybe a look over the railing and then back on the bikes. But that's not how this one played out. Off to the side, we spotted this little trail, a narrow path that looked like it had a story to tell. so of course we had to check it out. The trail hugs the cliffs in a way that makes you feel like you're riding along the edge of the world. One wrong move and you're getting way more airtime than you ever planned. But the payoff? Absolutely worth it. As we followed it, the trees opened up, and suddenly we were staring straight down at Donnell Lake and the dam below. Tiny from where we stood, like pieces on a map. We parked the bikes, pulled off the helmets, and just took it in. The view hits you all at once. Massive granite walls, deep blue water, and that Sierra vibe that's like no other. We snapped some pics, then launched the drone, and the footage was unreal. Wide sweeping shots that make the whole place look like something out of a national park brochure. But the best part was still ahead. We kept riding along the cliffside path until it led us to this epic overlook. Just a slab of concrete planted on granite hanging over a sheer drop. A simple guardrail, no crowds, just raw, untouched Sierra wilderness. It felt like we'd discovered a secret spot meant only for riders who wander just far enough off the beaten track. Donnell Vista wasn't even supposed to be a major stop on this ride, but it became one of the top highlights of the entire season. And I can tell you right now, every future pass through this area, yeah, we're stopping here again, every single time. Just past Kennedy Meadows, the ride transforms into something straight out of a postcard. As you roll past the campground and the last bit of civilization, the road starts to rise and suddenly you find yourself riding along Dead Man's Creek, a stretch of pavement that feels like it was carved specifically for anyone that loves the mountains. The valley here is unreal. Towering granite walls rise up on both sides, framing the road like massive stone guardians watching over the pass. The creek runs beside you the whole way, flickering through the trees, catching light in a way that almost doesn't look real. It's one of those places you keep glancing around and thinking there's no way this is an actual road. This has to be a movie backdrop. As you climb, the curves start to flow together, just big sweeping turns that give you a perfect rhythm. Every corner opens up to another jaw-dropping view. Granite cliffs stretching thousands of feet into the sky, golden meadows sitting quietly below, and that creek carving its way through everything like it's been doing for centuries. And riding it in the fall, man, it's a whole different level. The colors explode, bright yellows and deep oranges, and those fire red bursts that only show up for a few weeks each year. The aspens shimmer like they're alive, and every gust of mountain wind sends leaves drifting across the road, almost like the ride has its own special effects. And the best part is how the scenery keeps building the higher you get. The air gets cooler, the walls get steeper, and the valley opens up just enough to tease the peaks ahead. It feels like the road is guiding you, step by step, towards the summit of Sonora Pass. Every mile is a reminder of why riders fall in love with this route. Dead Man's Creek isn't just a stretch of road, it's an experience. A perfect blend of flowing pavement, pure Sierra wilderness, and some of the most stunning mountain scenery you'll ever ride through. It's one of those sections that stays with you long after the engine cools. After all the climbs and switchbacks, you finally reach it, the peak of Sonora Pass. At 9,624 feet, the air sharpens, the horizon opens up, and that famous Sonora Pass sign stands there like a trophy waiting to be claimed. We stop for the classic summit shot, taking in the feeling of being on top of the Sierra. But the ride doesn't end there. Rolling over the pass and dropping down the other side towards Bridgeport is a whole new experience. Steeper grades, sweeping views, and those wide open valleys that make you feel like you're riding straight into the sky. It's the perfect payoff after the climb, and it's a descent you'll never forget. As we dropped down towards Levitt Meadows, we spotted something off in the trees. Old cabins, half collapsed, weathered, and barely holding on. Of course, Misdemeanor Mike and I had to check them out. We love exploring ruins, and these felt like they were frozen in time. what I could dig up later, these cabins were still standing as recently as 2022. But out here, the winters are brutal, heavy snow, wind, and time finally took their toll, leaving the structures leaning, broken, and slowly sinking back into the earth. Walking around them, you can almost imagine what they looked like when they were still alive. Warm roofs, creaking doors, maybe a rancher or hunter calling this place home. Now they're just a silent reminder of the past, and an unexpected little adventure on an already epic ride. Leaving Levitt Meadows behind, we continued east on Highway 108. The road stretching out like a ribbon through the high Sierra. The scenery keeps shifting as you descend, mountain peaks giving way to wide meadows, and the air feels fresher with every mile. Along the way, we passed the Marine Corps training camp, a reminder that even out here, discipline and challenge find a home. You can see the open fields where recruits push themselves through exercises, the sound of distant commands carried by the wind. Every corner brings a new vista, and every stretch of the asphalt feels like it's guiding you closer to Highway 395. By the time you reach that junction, you've ridden through some of the most diverse and dramatic terrain the Sierra has to offer. A perfect blend of history, challenge, and natural beauty. From the junction at Highway 395, we turned north, the road climbing steadily as we made our way towards Highway 89 and the ride home over Monitor Pass. The sun was sinking lower in the sky, casting golden light across the peaks and valleys, painting everything with that late day glow that makes you pause and just soak it all in. Before it got too dark, we pulled over for one last stop, a perfect viewpoint overlooking Topaz Lake and the valley below. The water shimmered like glass, reflecting the colors of the sky, and the surrounding mountains framed the scene perfectly. While we set up the drone for some final shots, a couple of fellow bikers came racing past, engines echoing off the canyon walls, a brief reminder we weren't the only ones chasing the day. We lingered just a little bit longer, savoring the quiet, the view, and the satisfaction of a full day of riding. Then, with the sun dipping low and closer to the horizon, it was time to fire up the bikes one last time. Highway 89 awaited, winding us back over Monitor Pass, carrying us home through the fading light, memories of the day, and the feeling that every ride like this is worth every mile. And that's the countdown of my top 10 favorite rides, at least so far. I hope you enjoyed the trip as much as I did, and hopefully this video inspired you to get out there on two wheels and explore. If you'd like to see more content like this, please give us a like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and puts fuel in our tanks for the next two-wheel tour. Till the next one, keep the throttle open and the rubber side down.